every parameter of that journalists stick to, I violated in my initial blog.
Okay, that makes two of us, because in my own personal experience, while I don't blog, when I read the entry, I had no doubts that it was true, until all of these facts came out later. Let me ask you, JC, before you put your petition online,
Yes.
did you vet the story? Did you check your facts?
Yes, we exercised due diligence. I called the mother, Mrs. De La Paz. And, well, you could only go so far as to getting the real facts, but we did. And
Did you call the Pangandamans?
The Pangandamans, we did not bother. Because the news were enough to get the facts that we needed. That there was really, well, you know, an imbalance in this brawl. And you have a victim. Yun lang naman yung kailangan malaman.
Okay, do you agree with that?
I have to point out, in defense of Ang Kapatiran and Naomi and the other vloggers, when I said that I kind of backtrack a bit. I did that from the perspective, you know, from where I sit. I'm a journalist.
Right.
You know, bloggers, they can do whatever they want because the system allows that, the medium allows that. In fact, it expects it. It expects you to do that kind of thing.
Okay.
You know, you don't have to vet. You don't have to just, you know, shoot your mouth off and all like that. That's the nature of blogging.
Okay.
But what I'm ruining actually right now, what I'm really upset about myself right now is that I did not apply the things that I do as a journalist in this instance.
But you yourself have said that the blogger can shoot his mouth off and say whatever he wants without having to vet nor check facts.
Yeah.
In the instance that you're a blogger, doesn't that give you the same freedoms that you now allow a blogger like Noemi to just say what she pleases without having to vet any of the facts?
That actually brings me to my thesis now, which is that a journalist cannot be a blogger and be effective, be as effective a journalist.
But Cheche, I tried to verify my facts. In fact, I looked for my contacts in Mindanao. I wanted to actually talk to the Pangandamans, and I failed to do that. And in fact, I also, because I failed to do that, okay, I asked them to verify their real story that was coming out in certain sites and comments, the real story. Is this really the real story? I couldn't even verify that. Nobody could come out.
No, I'm not saying that what Bambi wrote was wrong, or that it was incorrect. I'm not even saying that, you know, I'm not even taking back what I said about the Pangandamans. I still think that they acted like warlords.
Right.
I still think that they ought, that Sir Pangandaman Sr. doesn't deserve to be a peace negotiator. I mean, come on, he couldn't even prevent a simple misunderstanding from turning into a brawl.
Okay.
So how do you expect him to talk peace with the MILF? So I still
right.
stick with that.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is that, you know, the system that I'm used to as a journalist, it didn't work this time. I got waylaid.
You got waylaid, like many of us. And JC, what exactly was the petition that you put online?
Well, it was strongly worded, and in the last paragraphs below, we condemned the current political situation of warlordism and trapo politics.
Oh, it went all the way into that.
Without particularly pinpointing Pangandaman as falling into that class.
But of course,
I even commented about Edith Burgos. I commented that the disposition of government is that it is callous, and well, they don't care about the vulnerable, and so it went that far.
Okay.
So I would rather follow my conscience at that particular time and be wrong than, you know, letting that slip by, you know, coming to the aid of the vulnerable. And, you know, if you're wrong, you could say sorry. But if you don't, well, help people like that at that particular time. In our passport, that's very specific in our 10-point principles. That we have the test of a moral society or our civil society is how they take care of the vulnerable, the poor, the weak. So we acted by instinct.
Based on that principle. Well, thank you very much for joining us. When we return, we're going to go and talk about the legal brawl of the Valley Gulf media war when Media in Focus returns.
Erwin de la Paz was surprised upon learning that he has been expelled as a member of the Valley Golf and Country Club in Antipolo City after figuring in a brawl with the sons of Agrarian Reform Secretary Nacer Pangandaman Sr. on December 26. Apart from de la Paz, Agrarian Reform Secretary Nacer Pangandaman Sr. was suspended for a period of not less than 2 years, while his sons Mashu Lanao del Sur Mayor Nacer Pangandaman Jr. and Hussein were banned for life from the club. De la Paz says his family has already been prejudged even before the results of the NBI's investigation on the brawl is released. For De La Paz, it appears that the club gave more weight to the testimonies of Pangandaman's camp, even if he claims they are filled with inconsistencies.
Hindi pa maganda rito, anong magiging image namin sa other golf courses? Lalo na yung bata. Siyempre, isipin mo, pagka na-expel ka, parang you are unruly, you are troublemaker, di ba? Ang hirap pala nung maliit ka, maliit ang tao.
The Pangandaman family, meanwhile, felt vindicated with the club's decision. However, Teodoro Pastrana, legal counsel for the Pangandamans, views the penalties imposed on his client as severe.
Medyo mabigat yung sanction doon sa Pangandaman side, no? Dahil talagang ang purely self-defense. Pinag-aaralan pa namin ngayon kung kami ay hihingi ng or magpa-file ng motion for partial reconsideration.
De La Paz now says that he, along with the Pangandamans and the caddies, take a lie detector test to know once and for all who really is telling the truth.
I'm willing to submit to a lie detector test. Kung gusto nila, pati yung other side, pati yung sa other side, pati yung nag-corroborate ng kanilang testimony.
Pastrana, for his part, wants something more from the De La Paz family.
I think my clients deserve a public apology.
Monica Bautista, ABS-CBN News.
Welcome to Media in Focus. We're still here with journalist and blogger Kaloy Conde. We're also joined by attorney J.J. Dicini, UP College of Law professor and director of the UP Law Internet and Society Program, and UP journalism professor, Bulatlat editor, and columnist Danilo Arau. Welcome to Media in Focus, gentlemen. Before the break, we had a very lively discussion there. I understand that Bambi De La Paz has now been accused of libel by the Pangandamans.
That's what I understand from the media reports.
Yeah. As a lawyer, is this kind of a case for blogging about what you perceived as the truth libelous?
Well, the libel is an imputation. One form of libel is an imputation of a crime. Now, she's claiming that the mayor, the imputation here is that they committed a crime, that is physical injuries upon her father and her brother. So, in that sense, it's libelous, and it was publicly made in a blog. It was published by her, so she's liable both as the writer of the libel and as publisher of the libel. But this would fall under an exception, a known exception, as a public figure exception, where if the person who is being libeled is a public figure, in this case a public official, in this instance actually both of them are public officials, the secretary and the mayor, then she would not be liable because the imputation would not be malicious. It would only be malicious if they could prove that the imputation was made with a reckless disregard for the truth. And I don't think that can be established here. My reading of the blog entry of Bambi is that there were, while it was biased in her perception,
favor,
and her perception of the events, I think there was an attempt on her part to be balanced as possible, given that she was very emotional when she wrote it.
Okay. Now, is this the first of its kind, as you know, as far as internet and blogging is concerned, that somebody files a libel case against a blogger?
The earliest blogging libel case I'm aware of was the PCIJ. PCIJ, it was by that recording...
Hello Garci. The
Hello Garci case.
Okay. Did it prosper?
It was dismissed.
It was dismissed on the grounds that?
I think same. Well, it was an unusual case because the libel case, because the person had become a public figure, because he had presented himself as an expert on audio tapes, and therefore, but he filed the case not in his behalf. He filed the case in behalf of his wife and his children. And so the court said, you can't do that. It still falls within the public figure exception.
Okay.
So that's actually the stumbling block in the case against Bambi De La Paz.
Now, will it be difficult, like for example, Danny, when you teach ethics in journalism, we had a slight discussion about Can bloggers just say anything and not be held accountable for what they say?
Well, actually, the content management system that is the basis